You find yourself just as dusk settles over a medieval village, nestled beneath low thatched eaves. No machines hum in the distance. No electric glow spills from windows. The air carries a gentle chill, simmed with the soft scent of damp earth and wood smoke. Your shoulders drop. Your breathing slows. Before you, a narrow street curves softly between rounded mud brick houses. Warm amber light from tallow candles spills through small latticed windows. The cobblestones beneath your feet are uneven, smooth from years of feet passing this way. A thin pulse of life remains, a hush of voices carried on dusky air. Your eyes adjust to the grainy dusk, settling on rough-hewn doors, and the soft shimmer of spider webs stretched across rafters. The world feels hushed, tethered to a slower rhythm. Nearby, smoke rises faintly from a clay chimney. Its scent mixing with thin wafts of malted barley from a brewing jar. Around you, the quiet, swelling sounds of an old dog's slow breathing, resting near a bundle of stacked firewood. The cool stone of the street meets your bare skin, a light contrast to the lingering heat from the day. A child's trundle bed creaks softly in a distant home, shifting as a small body turns in sleep. The thin rustle of a hempen rope tied around broken fence posts whispers with the evening breeze. This is a place where time moves lightly, without hurry. An iron pot cools on a doorstep, its metal sides making a single pale click as it shifts. Nearby, a hollow clay jar holds embers beneath a bed of ash. Preserved from daylight fire to kindle warmth before dawn. Your gaze rests on knotty beams, curve-cut and weathered by countless seasons bound to the heavy thatch overhead. Bone needles glimmer briefly where a grandmother mends tattered cloth against the flicker of a tallow candle. The warmth from the hearth inside carries through an open door, mild and measured. A mild pulse of malted barley mingled with chamomile steeped for sleep drifts out and eases past you. You sense the boundaries of this unhurried world. No clatter of carts, no bellows of engines. Only the soft settling of timber and mortar drying in the cooling air. You find your shoulders heavier still. Your arms relax beside you. The thin thud of distant footsteps approaches a stable, horses murmuring low and calm. The familiar scent of bone broth cooking returns in the gentle draft from under the door. Near the fire pit of a communal square, a soft crackle rises, feeding the tender glow that warms bundled figures clustered on wooden benches. A child reaches out, drawing a small round bread from a woven basket, the crust crackling softly under her fingers. She bites slowly, the taste of coarse rye mingling with a light tang of honeydew in the cool air. Smoke curls lazily from burning juniper on an iron brazier, threading through branches bowed beneath the night's pale light. You feel the ease of a breath held long, then drawn out even longer. Near a weathered gate, something shifts, the scent of fresh oats. And new hay blooms softly, carried from a nearby stable. A coarse rope hammock sways just slightly between two oaks, fraying hempen fibers whispering in the stillness. Moisture beads form on a clay water jar hanging on a wooden peg, touched by the cooler air. Faint footsteps pass, then settle, and the muted exhale of a figure breathing beside the shed blends with the hushed night. Your gaze softens. Your legs feel heavier, still against the moss-lined edge of the path. The hearthstone lies firmly centered in a mud brick home nearby, cracked after 7 winters and replaced with patient care. The fire's embers pulse, faint red through ash, slow and even, inviting a deep and measured warmth. The old dog near your feet opens eyes briefly, circles once, then settles in deeper. The breath you take finds the same pace as the night, soft and unchanging. Outside, the moon's pale light filters through delicate thatch, casting tender patterns like whispers across cool floorboards. Far ahead, a single candle flickers where a door remains half open. A spinning wheel turns slowly in the shadows, the smooth sound of wood on wood almost inaudible. The scent of boiled nettles and dried herbs hints at the trappings of housewife routine. You feel settled, your chest softening with ease. The lilt of a lullaby falls faint from a distant chamber. Notes bend slow and even. Midway through the lane, a small wonder lingers. A basket of newly harvested millet sacks sits by a porch, hushed beneath pale moonlight. The rough texture rests just beneath your fingertips, worn thin where hands have pressed and folded over years. Smoke coils rise, the smell mingling mild and sweet with baked turnip steam from a clay oven nearby. The cross-hatched shadows of lattice windows stretch long across the cobblestones. You feel the measured beat of your own breath mirrored by the slow seep of night. An old woman's stitch slips once beneath thin light, orange flame catching briefly on a bone needle before resting low once more. The heavy scent of tallow candles blends with the soft musk of sheep wool hung over rails to dry. By the door, a wooden bucket cradles water cooled by the evening air, its surface still and mirror-like. A horse's soft snort swells, then folds back into the dark, rhythmic and unhurried. Your heart's motion matches this pattern, calm and even. Beyond, the earth's scent deepens. Rich loam underfoot, warmed slightly from the day's sun. Spider webs glisten dew-kissed beneath cut beams, each strand catching the slightest hint of pale light. Your gaze drifts downward, tracing the subtle rhythm of your steps. Sound muffled by the worn earth path lining the village. A coin-sized patch of chamomile blooms pale and soft beside a worn stone threshold. A flicker of movement stirs at the corner of your vision. An old cat stretches and folds back into shadow. The lingering scent of bread starter rises softly from a basket. Its yeasty tang carried on a gentle puff of air. The path curves beside a small garden plot where pale herbs sag under the weight of evening dew. Long shadows settle deep beneath the wooden farmhouse's solid roof and steep kerf-cut beams. You sense the enclosed feeling of sturdy walls enfolding all within their earthy hold. Your limbs soften further, drawn into the unbroken pace of the cooling landscape. From a threshold, the pale clink of an iron pot cooling echoes softly. mingled with a light rustle of hempen sackcloth. The path widens slightly near a broad hearthstone where flames once lived, now resting beneath fine ashen coals. Near the fire pit, a flickering ember curls, unhurried and dull like a distant heartbeat. The air carries small wisps of fermented hay, the richness of the surrounding fields folded inside. Your breath deepens, sinking with the muted pulse of the sleeping village. A single lantern, made of horn and wood, glows pale at a doorway, shadows shifting through its translucent sides. A faint trace of bone broth perfumes the air, warming the heart of a humble stove inside. You lean a shoulder gently against the cool timber post, feeling the rough grain beneath your palm. The scent of malted barley returns, tender and inviting, threaded with hints of dried apple skins. The sky fades slowly into deep indigo, a canvas of softly glowing stars appearing overhead. Nearby, the smoke hole in the roof is placed off-center deliberately, where wind cannot carry rain through. Its dark opening holds a thin wisp of smoke, twirling silently into the chill night. The folded edges of a wool blanket rest nearby, coarse but protective. You hear the soft settling of timber, slight creaks exhaling after a long day's heat. The night air wraps you in a velvet cloak of stillness and ease. The circle of villagers' beds arranges strictly, the eldest near the fire, the youngest pressed close to the thick mud brick walls. A small woven basket contains a clay jar of embers buried in ash overnight. Its heat slow to fade, but sure enough for morning spark. The bulk of a rough wool sack leans gently against the wall, its fibers lightly scented with juniper smoke. Nearby, the unhurried tick of a kettle boils quietly, a sound mild in the vast hush around it. The air feels thick with a gentle, even pulse, the unhurried rest of many bodies at ease. The village chapel's wooden door remains closed and silent, its timbers wrapped quietly in shadows. A soft scent of beeswax drifts thinly through cracked windows, mingled with the distant hum of night insects. Near the forge, cool tools rest half buried in ash, their surfaces dulled after a day's labor. The path resumes in quiet arcs, lined with river stones cool and smooth beneath pale moonlight. Your eyelids grow heavier, the gradual hush unfolding more fully around you. On the porch of a small home, jars of dried herbs cluster, their thin, pungent aroma lingering with memories of early summer. A leather thong, weathered and worn, hangs from a hook near the door frame. From inside, the soft strum of a lute drifts thinly, measures drawn out long beneath the muted light. The air tastes lightly of roasted chestnuts from a nearby hearth, sweet and yielding. You feel your breathing deepen, slow to meet the village's calm rhythm. The night animals rest beneath thatch roofs and round rafters, calm and undisturbed. Through the trees, a thin glimpse of stars shimmers, cool points of light scattered across the muted dark. An old dog rises briefly, circles 3 times, and settles at your feet, its breath pale and even. The scent of bone broth returns, mingling softly with the earth and slowly drying mortar. Your limbs soften, drawn into the muted cadence of evening stillness. Something changes. The fading glow of candlelight spills softly across rough wooden floors. Distant fires glows out slowly, their embers fading to pale ash below hearthstones. Moisture beads glisten thin on the rails of wooden benches, kissed by cool night air. You settle further. Patient sound of a spinning wheel turns low and smooth. The scent of malted barley lingers, pale and easy. A child's breath rises gradual from the trundle bed nearby, soft and even. Your body feels the mild touch of night's embrace. In the darkened street, the shapes of mud brick walls fold into deeper shade. The sound of sheep huffing rises soft across a distant pasture. Juniper smoke curls slowly, each wisp growing thin and pale. The rough texture of wool cloth brushes like distant memory. Your breath matches this slow dance, even and unhurried. Nearby, a wooden bucket rests still beneath the moon's pale gaze. The air fills with the light tang of dried herbs mothballed for winter's chill. The dim shift of hempen ropes tied tight gives way to silence again. The slow pulse of the sleeping village cradles the space between each breath. You find yourself folding deeper into this mild and even quiet. The scent of bone broth mingles with chamomile's faint calm. Cool air brushes a bare cheek softly as wool blankets settle heavy and thick. A slight rustle of a hemp sack leans close beside the hearth. The old dog stretches once more, nostrils flaring in the slow-folded dark. A soft tap of ash slides down a worn chimney, almost silent. Faint threads of light trace the edges of a bent wooden door. The night holds you in hushed stillness. A rooster's breath marks soft shadows far beyond the village. The air carries the thin trace of fermented hay resting by a fence. A single ember glimmers low beneath ash in a clay jar. Your breath thins, measured and even, barely moving now. You are held softly. The weight of the earth beneath, sure and calm. Your limbs stretch out, relaxed, yielding to the hush. The light falls pale and slow and even and pale. Along worn floors, the sounds of distant footsteps fade gradual and dim. Time folds evenly in the cradle of crumbling stone and wood. The village waits, wrapped in patient, gradual warmth. Your breath eases with the evening's unbroken song. Further inside a cottage, the air sits thick with bone broth scent, slow and mild. A trundle bed creaks softly as warmth settles close. The flicker of a tallow candle casts slow shadows on cracked walls. The house holds its breath, still and quiet. Your chest moves gently, drawn in time with this calm. Near the hearth, a clump of ash shifts soft beneath an old iron pot. The fire pit lies dark but ready, its stones cool to touch. Your eyelids grow heavy within this gentle space. The scent of malted barley fades to tender nothing. A soft pulse of heat lingers where dried herbs hang from rafters. Smoke coils unwind slowly, mild and relaxed, curling toward the roof's dark. The heavy wool blankets fold around the village's slow, even heart. Your body rests heavier still. The wide stillness wraps around each breath. The scented air feels close. The slow drip of night softness fills the empty corners. A calm deeper than thought unfolds beneath thatch and stone. The cool breath of open sky mingles pale with distant stars. Hands fold still upon loose wool cloth beside a door. The breeze barely moves, a soundless pulse. The scent of earth and ash rounds softly through the space. The silence carries a gentle weight, even and unbroken. Shadows lean close, drawn by moon's pale watch. You rest within this slow, undemanding moment. A wan light glimmers quietly on cool stones. The damp cold brushes against your skin. The house breathes calm behind quiet walls. Soft click echoes beneath a threshold. You find your heartbeat slowing, even, unhurried. The earth beneath holds you with patient grace. A light dark fills the space between each breath. Your arms lie loose beside you. Your legs grow heavier, folded deep into night. The village sleeps in quiet folds. The sound of settling timber drifts, soft and mellow. The air carries the soft scent of yeast and husk. A bowl of nettle broth cools gently near a hearth. Steps on cobblestones come and go, gradual and thin. The dog's warm breath rests calm on the floorboards. Your breath lengthens, unbroken and mild. Bones settle slowly beneath layered cloth. The night spreads wide, open and calm. The flame faded slowly to ash. A spinning wheel winds down with measured sound. Faint scent of roasted chestnuts lingers with ease. The wool blanket folds round your body. The hearthstone cools, left still and sure. The world grows hushed, vast and open. A lullaby shivers soft across rafters. The warmth lies deep within stone walls. Your breath floats calm and gradual. Your body rests with even ease. Silent and settled, the village dreams. The old dog's snore quiets. Gentle wind sighs faint through trees. The moon hangs low, pale and vast. The distant fields breathe slow and dark. The scent of morning dew drifts cold and mild. Time flows gentle and even. Your eyelids close softly. Your chest moves calm, calm and deep. From a corner dark, a small wonder appears. The child still stirs, half wrapped in wool's pale fold. Her breath rises calm like woven threads. Heavy with the evening's slow pulse. A light touch upon the hush of night. The moment lingers briefly, faint and soft. Your body folds deeper still. The smooth stone cools beneath a hand. The scent of chamomile breathes low. Dust drifts soft on aged beams. The rhythm steady, soft. The hearth's embers rest near ash, calm and unhurried. A thread of smoke fades thin beneath a hallowed roof. Your limbs sink neatly into peaceful wait. The village seems to hold its breath dim, steady A muted cadence threads the quiet. The air folds softly, hushed and calm. Slowly, a shadow leans against the doorframe. The night's pulse softens to near silence. A cool breeze winds through straw and mortar. Step by step, your presence merges with stillness. The scent of dried herbs settles low. A quiet pulse beneath layered stone and wood. The dark field presses close with mild hush. Your shoulders drop farther into the village's calm. A patient silence grows broad and deep. The warmth dissolves slowly, fading further. Your breath hums soft and even. Your mind folds into a gentle wave. The faint rustle of blankets. The smooth coolness of stone. The faint murmur of distant stars. The pale whisper of the moon. A tender lull wraps every fold of air. Your senses soften, folded deep. Your body rests, steady and slow. Limbs settling lightly. Breath mild and even. The village fades gently. The air stills. You sink. A soft pulse of silence hums through the night. The scent of earth mingles lightly. Shadows press close, secure. Your heart holds a measured, tender beat. The world folds to a muted hum. Your limbs rest heavy. Eyes close, thin. The village's scent softens, gradual. A soft breeze carries distant malted barley. The night deepens, not hurried, not restless. Just a hush that bends and holds. Your breath drifts long and low. Your body lies deep in stillness. The ancient village breathes faint, calm. This is the crossing, the place every soul passes through alone. You are held in slow embrace. The faintest pulse of warmth ebbs, pale and deep. Your body and breath blur into night's slow rhythm. You rest perfectly still. The village and night become one gradual, mild fold. A small fire pit nestles near a cluster of thatched cottages. The aroma of dried herbs drifts slowly on the mild air. You settle near the rounded stone, its heat tender on your skin. Smoke spirals softly toward a smoke hole off-center in the roof. The scent of juniper smoke lingers, subtle and fading. You sink deeper into this gentle space. The grandmother's hands rest lightly on a leather pouch. Her mending needle catches a flicker of tallow candlelight once. Thread draws quietly through thick wool, tightening and easing. A sling hempen rope coils beside a simple wooden stool. The sound makes a thin echo in the still room. You feel the calm cradle all around you. Near the threshold, a single iron pot cools with a dim click. Its surface dull and mottled from countless unhurried meals. A low wooden bench holds a worn trundle bed by the wall. Faint patterns in the plaster whisper a serene, unhurried age. You trace the sounds and textures as if in an easy dream. The warmth from the hearth settles like a soft blanket. A child shifts briefly in sleep near the fire's glow. Their breath is slow, an even drift in the hushed room. Nestled close to a parent's side, bodies turn as one. The flicker of a candle casts pale, streaming shadows. Your body feels a tender pulse in the fading dark. The quiet evening holds you lightly. outside, the round outer wall catches pale moonlight. The dew on grass cools and glistens, still and unbroken. A thin breeze twists through narrow gaps beneath wooden eaves. The night's voice is thin, only distant owl murmurs stir. The hearthstone cracks softly as it cools from many nights. You remain still, woven into this mild veil. The unhurried turning of the night feels measured and calm. Your body lowers its pulse to mirror the calm dark. The quiet breath of ancient stones and cooling timber blends. A pale murmur from unseen waters seems to cradle the air. The lingering taste of mild bone broth warms a dream's edge. You rest with the stillness, eased deeper into night. The dim room fades in warmth and softened sound. Your limbs grow heavy, sinking like settling mortar. The gentle tap of an old dog, rising, circling, then pausing. It lies down quietly again, settled by your feet. The measured ticking of an iron kettle cools far away. You let yourself become the breath of tender stillness. Lantern shadows lengthen and thin, then blur at the edges. A faint pulse of chilled stone lingers beneath your skin. You hold only the dull weight of quiet air and soft, dark. A soft nest of straw shifts under whispered weight. Smoke fades into the high rafters, slow and even. Your thoughts fold into the muted hush with growing ease. Moonlight spills gently across the meadow's wide, open sweep. The crisp scent of grass mingles with cool night air. A single cloud drifts dim and pale against a deep sky. Stars pulse, faint, vast, and even beyond the thatched roofs. The air moves barely, a measured, endless caress. You feel the vast calm enfolding all around you. A stone path winds slowly toward shadowed groves beyond. The faint crunch of leaf litter breaks a distant silence. A slow, pale shimmer ripples across the old thatch. A narrow stream hums quietly beneath moon's thin gaze. The dark is unbroken, sure like the turning earth. Your body drifts in balance with the vast open night. Grass bends lightly with faint night dew, falling unhurried. The easy sway of branches whispers soft lullabies. The cool, even air touches bare skin with tender breath. A lone frog calls, distant and unhurried through the dark. Vast stillness stretches without end or desire. You fold deeper into this silent, endless fold. You rest upon the earth's gentle, boundless embrace. Breath long. Even. The body's pulse quiets to a pale rhythm. Eyes close. A faint shift of air moves like a slow tide. Stillness broadens, heavy and calm. Light dims, thins, fades. Breath slows, deepens. Dark holds steady and pale. Your limbs rest lightly where they lie. Night breath, long and even. Your body sinks solid. Pale moon fades dim. A quiet pulse, measured and unbroken. Rest here, easy and calm. deep. The dark folds endless. The world around you grows quiet now. Everything is still. Everything is quiet. Nothing calls you anymore. Nothing remains to follow. Only the quiet rhythm of your breath. Slow and steady. And gently without effort.